It's a bright day in what we hope is going to be a bright new year for all of us. And there is a whole lot of promise and excitement in the car industry. To kickstart everything, Audi is first of the block with the all-new 2021 A4. Now, A4 is one of the best-selling sedans in its segment and definitely for Audi. But what does this car have in store? And should you seriously consider buying this? We'll be telling you everything, so stay tuned. Now, any sedan really looking to compete in its segment and against other cars in the same price bracket has to also look really good. And frankly, the A4 has never really had a problem in that department. It's not the most angular looking car, it's never been, and the 2021 isn't either. In fact, if anything, it's more rounded, it's more well proportioned. So, the curves on this car are the first thing that you will notice up at the front. The bonnet has a nice circular design to it. There are these really pronounced character lines here and on that side. But the biggest highlight, of course, is the brand new front grille, which is now more pronounced than ever before. It's got chrome highlights all the way down in parallel lines and a chrome outline on all sides. Now, flanking the hexagonal grille are these reworked front headlights, which have the parking lights and the side lights integrated into it. These look really modern. You do have the option of matrix technology in these lights as an option. But moving on to the side, the car gives up its rounded profile or gives it up a little bit for a more sporty appeal. Now, how does Audi do that? Well, there are these speed lines. That's what I would like to call them. These speed lights from the front headlight till just under the side mirror. There are character lines at the bottom as well. Now, the door handles actually don't open towards you, but sort of open upwards. So you open and that's it. One thing that we noticed in this review was that you really have to shut the door with a sense of purpose, otherwise it doesn't shut. And you won't even know till the car beeps an alarm to tell you. So if I just push it, no, it doesn't shut completely. I'll have to sort of slam it shut for it to go absolutely in place. Now, at a time when soft touch closing is available on a lot of luxury cars, this could have been an area that Audi could have seen into. From the rear is perhaps where the A4 is its most elegant. It's always been, but in the new A4, it's even more so. That's thanks to the redesigned tail lights here. There is a slight chrome strip connecting the two tail lights. There is a chrome garnish at the bottom as well. And just in case you were wondering about the boot, well, it opens up nice and easy with a click of a button, or in this case, 2 clicks. But we've spoken a lot about the exterior, how the car looks and how much luggage it can actually store. And I will have to physically shut this door and of course the side door. But it's time for us to actually get inside this car and take a look at what the cabin has before we actually take it out to its real test, which is on how it is to drive. Well, the sun is high up, it's getting warmer, and what really makes the A4 warm and cozy too is the interior quality up at the front, the color combination, so to speak. So you do get a black soft touch leather here everywhere. It's soft touch here, there's leather here, but this is in a beige color, at least in this review unit. So the seats, the side handles are all done in beige. So it's a nice sophisticated touch to the A4. Beyond that, if you look not so carefully, you'll see a nice 10-inch infotainment screen. It's very responsive. You get really vivid navigation details right here. Your infotainment, everything that you would want is nicely displayed here. Of course, as things are with touchscreens, it does attract fingerprints, but nothing that a swipe of a microfiber cloth won't fix at the end of a drive. Now, just below the infotainment screen sits a small display here, which is basically for your air conditioning. This car has 3-zone climate control. The display unit here is flanked on either side by these, well, really nice haptic feedback dials through which you can control the temperature. There is a display here as well. There are buttons here. You can control the direction of airflow. You can select how you would want the airflow to come, whether it's through front, rear, all of that can be controlled through here, and a whole lot more here. Now, just under the air conditioning controls are several buttons. Most of these are for safety features. So one Using one, you can actually switch on or off the ignition on and off facility. There is traction control, there is assisted steering, there is proximity sensor. 2 buttons here, which I figure that Audi didn't know quite what to put here. And at the end is a button to switch off that infotainment display. Now on the other side are buttons to select your drive mode. So you can select between comfort, dynamic, efficiency, auto, individual, and all of that. One bit of a problem here is that when you're driving, and especially if your seat is as far back as I like to keep it, you have to sort of stretch a little bit, and I'm not the tallest person, but you still have to stretch a little bit to select the drive mode that you would want. Now, speaking about the center console here, it's nice and solid. There is a little bit of piano black finish here, which, well, it attracts dust, but if you can maintain it, looks very premium as well. There are n number of storage options. There is a 12-volt charging socket. There is a USB charging socket, and I've bought my cable right here, which I can use. Of course, just underneath the central armrest, you can put your phone for wireless charging as well if your phone supports that. There is a cigarette lighter here. There is a little bit of more space here. There is a section here where you can put your keys and the main gear lever here. So it is a nice and premium center console. It's nice and solid as well. So it is definitely Audi, and unmistakably at that. There is a nice general airy feel to the cabin right here. The windows are nice. The front windshield is also nice. It's got a commanding view of the road. You can adjust the seat however you want using the controls on the side. So you want it forward, just a press of a button and that's it. You want it back, you want a little bit of more lumbar support. All of that can be taken care of with these buttons on the side. So there is a whole lot to like inside the Audi A4's driving seat. There is, of course, that driving display just behind the steering wheel. Steering wheel, well, basic, rake and reach is all sorted, but like I was saying, the display for the driver on the main TFT screen is also nice. You can get the map onto the screen. You can also look at drive statistics and a whole lot more detail with the press of a button on the steering wheel. And now the most important thing for many customers, the sunroof. Well, personally, I'm not a big fan of sunroof in Indian weather conditions, but so many of you like it, and therefore the A4 also has it. It's not the biggest, it's not a panoramic sunroof, but it is one touch. Therefore, all the light that's coming in right here, press of a button and you can just shut it back. Now, it's very important that before we tell you what the car is to drive, what is the new A4 like when it comes to, well, being seated in the passenger seat. So, well, let's get a move on in this drive. Being an executive luxury sedan, well, the A4 does tick on most of the right boxes when it comes to being a car that the owner would be driven in. So the seats are nicely bolstered, they are nice, there's nice level of cushioning here, the under thigh support here is great, there is a lot of knee room as well, but since this seat right now is positioned to how my colleague likes it, I do have a lot of leg space as well, but since I like the driver's seat when I'm behind the steering wheel to be as far back as is possible, I did notice that the leg room was not much to speak about. The reason why it's just sufficient and not fantastic is because you are seating slightly upright. It's not uncomfortable, but yet I would have loved a feature to sort of recline the rear seats a little bit more. I know that's a feature that you get in cars which are 1 or 2 levels above, 1 or 2 segments above the A4. But to give it in this car would have been great as well, especially because while not very uncomfortable, you do notice how upright you are. But because you're seated upright, you do have a nice view of the road in front, on the side as well. So there is the cabin of the A4, which is nice and airy. The window line, well, it does come with this manual shade, but you roll it down if you want a better view of the road outside. The rear window may seem visually to be not adequately large, but trust me, it is pretty big. One slight problem is the window line. You have to sit with your arm like this if you so choose to, But other than that, this window line coupled with everything around it helps the car have a nice pleasing appearance. Now there is a speed breaker. Being a sedan, this car has to slow things down. The SUVs tend to do a lot better job, but well, as long as you're careful, there is not much discomfort or no discomfort whatsoever inside this car. That is, of course, if you are careful. At speeds, no sedan can negotiate really massive speed breakers that Indian roads tend to have with the ease and ability as an SUV can. But the A4 is also a low slung car. The low profile helps the drive, and we'll come to that in a bit. But overall, this car has a nice feel about it when it comes to being driven around. Now, body roll. Well, the front seats are side bolstered. These are not, and yet somehow, because of how the car has been designed and engineered, there is not much body roll for the passengers at the back as well. Now comes the most interesting part, the drive itself of the new A4. How different is it? What are the changes? Well, frankly, I'm going to judge the car on two basic parameters. How sporty it is, which is something it doesn't really outrightly claim to be, and how comfortable it is to drive. So let's put the sporty to the test. I have a flat out road, straight road in front of me. So, well, let's see how fast this can pick up pace. It's got a 2-liter TFSI petrol engine with 190 horsepower and 300 something Newton meters, but I'm not someone who is too much into figures, so enough talk, let's get a move on. And that's 100. Although I don't have a stopwatch next to me, I'm pretty sure it did hit that mark of 100 kmph in pretty quick time. So for a car that's not claiming to be very sporty, the 2-liter engine does give it quite a lot of heft in terms of how it can go on a straight flat line. But even on curvy roads like this one, well, the A4 grips the road so well that you really don't feel like you'll have any second thoughts in throwing the car around. Be a little careful, of course, because like I said, this is not a sports sedan. It's not even claiming to be. So while it will respond to your commands and wishes, it's because those tires are gripping the road so well. As far as comfort is, and I will switch it to the comfort mode. One thing that needs to be pointed out though is that if you are launching the car all of a sudden into a high speed, you press the accelerator down, the traction control is obviously on. You have to keep that traction control on just to keep safety as paramount, because the car sort of tends to wobble just a little bit from side to side when you're really putting the accelerator down to the absolute limits. Of course, if you want to keep the traction off for a more sporty, even more exhilarating drive, well, that's your choice, but we definitely recommend traction control to be on at all times. I so do wish there was a little more feedback, actually a whole lot more feedback from the steering wheel, especially if I'm doing those high-speed stretches, because other than the fact that the car is doing it, the steering is not the most engaging, in fact not engaging at all. It's steady, it's nicely weighted, but well, that's pretty much what I can say on the positive side about this steering wheel. There is not much negative, but if you're looking for a more engaging experience, this one is not going to be at par with some of its rivals. I love how quickly this car actually touches triple-digit speeds. It's not an RS, of course, but it still will respond to your inputs. The 7-speed gearbox here is doing an overtime, so to speak. It's probably not getting the credit it deserves, but it definitely deserves a whole lot of credit, because the gear changes are spot on. It's right where you would want it to be, whether you're speeding, you're bringing things down to a sort of a lull like I just did. So The gearbox is top-notch, all credit to Audi engineers. The A4 has always been a car that's great for daily city commutes as well as cruising down highways. It's not going to be the sportiest, most engaging cars to drive, and frankly, it is where its strength is at and has always been at. So the 2021 edition, the facelift, plays to the strengths and doesn't aspire to be something that it never has been, never wanted to be perhaps. So the A4 is nicely poised, your seating position is nice, the center of gravity is nicely positioned. So overall, it is not a car that's perhaps easy to get in and out of because it sits low, the case with most luxury sedans anyway, but it is a decent car to be driven in and to drive, unless of course you're looking for that extra bit of thrill. In a world moving towards SUVs like never before, the A4 has stood the test of time. The 2021 A4 takes all of its strengths, builds on it, and remains a very strong, very viable option for those looking for a luxury sedan. What do you think about the car? Do let us know. For now, stay safe, be safe, drive safe.